Hello, everybody. Good morning, everybody. And we are live here on YouTube. I don't normally do a lot of live YouTube videos. I normally do a lot on Facebook. But I just thought this morning I'd go out there and connect with our YouTube viewers and subscribers and just say a very happy Monday to you all. And here we are, first day of the week, 22nd of March. And for those of us who are in the UK and Europe, you'll all be aware that the corona lockdowns coming into their first anniversary. So there's mixed feelings about that for a lot of people, because this time last year we went into lockdown. People were asking the questions, how long is this going to be around? And they kind of had an end in mind. We kind of thought we'll all be gone by May and June. Here we are 1 year later. And people aren't really asking the questions, where is it going to go? It's how do we slide back, into what is some form of normal life, after this, has finished. For many of you who got up today, you're going to work in the same place where you spent the weekend. Maybe even the same room as those you've been at home all weekend. Yeah, and now you're going to go to work this morning in that same place, just as you did last week, the week before, and the week before. Now, I'm talking to a lot of people, clients, friends, and family, and people seem to be bearing up pretty well, but it's getting a bit monotonous, and it's sort of, when is it going to end? What can we do? And, there is light at the end of the tunnel, in the sense that the number of infections are falling. The governments here in the UK and across Europe, they're making gradual shifts in terms of policy, in terms of how we do get back to normal. But for now, probably most of you are working at home. It is the 22nd of March. It's Monday. So what can we do this week to make it special? Now, I just want to focus on some rather basic stuff. This time last year, as we're going into the pandemic, I did a lot of videos on, how to look after your health and stay safe in the pandemic. Since then, we've been doing lots of courses, supporting people going through their different challenges and helping them to be brilliant. Many people out there who I know, have done some really fantastic stuff in the pandemic. And others out there are challenged. Many have done fantastic stuff and are challenged. So let's have a look at what we can do, individually, and what you can do this week, working at home, to make it special. First thing I would say, this is rather basic stuff, yeah? So it's not rocket science, it's not advanced. You probably know it already, but sometimes a little reminder is good to have, to hear some ideas from outside. One thing I was thinking about this morning, I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, it's now 17 minutes past 9, so I've had a pretty busy morning, but also time to collect my thoughts in non-work related activities and non-leisure related activities, just pottering around, doing a few things around the house. You see, most people, used to commute to work. So they started work at 9, they probably get up at 5:30, have some breakfast. And whilst many people might, oh God, I've got to get on that train or in that car, that commute to work, is a very important time of almost downtime for thinking without trying to think, for planning without trying to plan, for reflecting without attempting to reflect. It's a really, really useful time. In the absence of a commute, some people may think, I can get an extra hour in bed, get up 15 minutes just before that Zoom meeting, splash a bit of water on my face, make it look like I'm fresh, where you are probably overdoing it on the sleep or getting up and not adjusting to the day or allowing yourself to slide into the day. So I'd say use that commute time wisely, but not strenuously. Just allow yourself time to get into the day, because as you reflect on the different things, that you can do. Now, to get up early, it usually means to go to bed early. And again, I know many people, who in the pandemic, myself included in this case, it's kind of think, you get up, you've got a whole day to do your work. Without a target for yourself, for many things, you can carry it over to the evening in some cases, because you've got the commute time to catch up. You're Netflixed out anyway. There's not a lot to do, so you can carry your work over into the evening, where it could be done in a day. So I say, and there's a law, it's called Parkinson's Law. It came out in 1955, was actually published in The Economist, which says a job will expand to the time allocated to it. So if you've got no time allocated to a job, or you think you've got all the time in the world, there's no urgency to get anything done. Your brain and body doesn't kick into the gear because you haven't got a target. So I'd say, as a home worker, make sure you plan your day and target yourself. So you're going to have this done. So then at 6 o'clock in the evening, or whenever you finish, you have a sense of achievement before you go on to the evening and enjoy some evening activities, rather than a sense of continually paying catch up. The two things I've said so far is get up early, use that time, if you do exercise, but allow yourself the commute time to kind of build the internal representations of what your day is going to look like. Set yourself schedules, try not to extend the work into the evening, otherwise it just becomes you're sitting there staring at that screen. And I've done it myself, and I'm sure you've done. You just sit there, willing that screen and laptop, just to work on its own. I think the environment's really important as well. So how you keep your environment, obviously for many people, at home with your partners, or people you share the place with, there is a sense that, a lot of people together, or even just two people who are deeply in love together all the time, can be a challenging on what you do in the house, getting on each other's feet. So you've got to allow, I think, time for a bit of irritability. If you do that, just, most people here are students of NLP, step back, go for a walk, allow yourself to get outside in the fresh air, take breaks, get outside. The sun is shining now here, make sure you get, some oxygen in your lungs, some sun on your face. It just does the world of good. I also think it's important that your environment, so, try and avoid carrying over stuff, from the house into the morning there. So if you go to bed and the house is a mess, that's what and you go to bed and your mind is full of work, or your mind is full of tension from something that happens in today. That's what you go to sleep with, and that's what you're going to wake up with to a certain extent as well. That's what your brain processes, at the night time. So if there's clothes on the floor, dishes in the sink, as has happened for me, a mess on the desk. When you think about work in the morning, you're going to wake up to a mess in your head, which doesn't allow for clear thinking. So tidy your place up, nice and tidy, clean thinking. So when you wake up in the morning, you're fresh, tidy house, ready to rock and roll after gliding in gracefully to the day. I think it's important we stay positive. The end is coming to this soon, or some form of transition anyway. So, most of us are in work, with a roof over our heads. I think it's important to be grateful each day, despite the challenges that this COVID brings, or working at home brings. I just think it's important, stay grateful. So I wake up, when I sit here and come down, I make a list of the things I'm grateful for. And many things, you can be grateful for your problems as well. So, whatever's pissing you off, if you think, what is good in this? Whoever's pissed you off, what is good in this relationship? What can I learn? Some of these small things just keep your mind alert, keeps you out of the whinging zone. So to whinge, to complain, you've got to have a negative internal dialogue. Blah, 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 blah. It's not fair. Now, do you know what? That is so draining, and it very rarely changes anything. is if you're continually complaining about how unfair the world is, how tough this is, who's doing what, all you're doing is just sending negative messages to your body, which is going to keep you in a bad mood all day. Who wants that? When you can think about being grateful, upbeat, and thinking about all the good things that are happening to keep yourself in a healthy mental state. Looking at my notes, I made a few notes. As I say, take a lot of breaks. Get outside or meditate. Do some self-hypnosis through the day. Engage with other people as much as you can. When it comes to your work, obviously most people are meeting on Zoom. Stay engaged with people. And I think there's obviously a lot of cases out there where people who haven't got NLP resources are feeling a challenge. So I think it's important that you've got good friends, family you can reach out to. And if you are feeling a little low, just feel comfortable in sharing that with somebody, but also be there for others. So someone gives you a call, if you think of someone who might be challenged, pick up the phone and give them a call, or say to show over Zoom. I think again, there's an unprecedented opportunity here. I was just talking last night to some people. I think we're on the verge, of a whole new world. Yeah, we are in a whole new world. I don't know about on the verge of it, and there's masses and masses of changes and masses of opportunities in this whole new world. Here in the UK, at the moment, yesterday was what we call Census Day. So every 10 years, we have to fill out a form which says where you are. It's a snapshot of the country on that day. Who's staying at your house, even if they're a guest. Yeah, if you're staying somewhere else, where you are staying, even if you're a guest. Yeah. So it's kind of like the snapshot of the country. There's a lot of questions. And it was all online. And I remember, back when I was a child, my parents filling out the census pages. I remember, when I first became an adult, you had to fill these forms out. And I was just thinking that every household in this country has to fill out one of these forms. The amount of processing that must have took, the amount of paper it took. And last night is done in 10 minutes online. And that is an example of an amazing world we live in terms of connectivity and ease of getting things done. For sure, so much more is online. I've mentioned before, I'm doing a master's degree with King's College University over a 2-year period. And I'm on the second module now. I just love it. Now my belief set before would probably not have got me engaged into thinking I would enjoy doing a master's degree online, and whether it would be fruitful for me. And I wouldn't have had the time to go up to King's College University 2 or 3 times a week to do the study. But that's a part of the changing world where information will come to you and you can get your information out to the people. So things have changed. I've just given these simple tips because I'm just talking to a lot of people. Some people are getting a bit, what we say, brown, bit kind of like down a little. This is now, here we go fucking again. Excuse my language. Yeah, same old, same old, same old. It doesn't have to be the same old, same old, same old. Obviously there's routines to follow. But in the evening time, there is the sun is out, to get outside, exercise, nourish your brain. So year in, just think about where you were in your mindset 1 year ago. There's a lot of fear out there when this pandemic first hit, real fear actually. It was totally unknown to us. In the West, such a contagious pandemic with disastrous effects for people who are vulnerable to that pandemic. So most of us who are not vulnerable had to really make a sacrifice in terms of keeping our communities and countries safe, by following the government regulations, lockdowns, etc. And I remember the fear and what we're going to do. But human beings have an amazing ability to adapt. So what we are doing now, isn't that, in terms of work, most of the people are working at home. We've adapted. So the highs and lows has gone properly. It's just that it's a flat thing for a lot of people. And maybe some cases, a bit of a challenge to get excited. What can you get excited about is a lot of what things can do after, or now. So remember to set goals. Don't put your life on hold. A lot of people kind of, in my business, NLP, just put everything on hold. There's no need for that, for most of us. Just think about, what it is that you can do. How can you grow? How can you develop, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. It's all there for you. So there you have it, a YouTube live. This is quite new for me. I quite enjoyed this. So I just want to say happy Monday to you all. Happy 22nd of March. Let's make this week very special. Do some different things. Take care of yourself and have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for joining me here. Or if you're watching this after the video, thank you so much for taking the time to visit the NLP Academy channel, watching the video, and remember to pick the subscribe button. We'll do a lot more like this. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.